Hey guys, and welcome back to the Everyman's Odyssey podcast, where we explore the values and challenges of authentic masculinity through sharing stories and ideas. This episode, we're actually going to do an interview. I'll be talking with my future brother-in-law, Lonnie Gross. He's engaged to be married to my youngest sister, and I thought I'd have him in so we could just talk about what that journey leading up to this part of his life means and how he arrived here. So hopefully you enjoy this. The episode does run a little bit longer than we would typically do, but I think it's important to be able to have that full discussion. So again, hope you guys enjoy the podcast and let me know what you think. Here we go.
So the first one I want to start with is just why you agreed to do the interview, the podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, because you're my fiance's brother, and I thought that you would kill me if I didn't. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I thought it would be cool to get to hang out with you, see what you're doing, be involved with your passion. Sounds super fun.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Are you nervous at all, or just
just
hanging out with a microphone, but it still feels different?
As much as I like being in front of a microphone, this is a little nerve-wracking. I don't know why. Haley was like, "Are you scared to? Are you a little nervous?" And I was like, I am a little nervous. I don't know why, but I am.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm nervous when I do it by myself.
We'd be nervous together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So getting into, the deeper questions. Who do you look to when you model some of the choices that you make when you are trying to grow, as a man?
I think that answer probably changes, depending on who I've been around. When I was younger, when I was a teenager and stuff, it would be probably musicians that I looked up to or were around. I had a youth pastor that I was really close to and kind of hung out with me and made sure I was okay. So when I was a teenager, so I would say him. But now definitely my pastor Jim is someone that I think about what he would do.
Yeah.
And try and do it that way. Obviously, the easy answer is Jesus. But
right, yeah. That's cheating. You gotta pick something.
Yeah. Get a better grade on my test here.
What are some habits that you currently struggle with, whether it be habits that you want to stop or habits that you want to start, that you think are important when you think of the type of man that you want to be?
Okay, so a bad habit, and then a one that I want to have.
Either or both.
Okay. Well, I've been pretty dependent on nicotine since I was 18, or a teenager really. As soon as I moved out of the house, I was super I was homeschooled and drinking and all that stuff was bad. But nicotine's been my vice. I kind of like it a lot. I quit smoking cigarettes and vaping and stuff like that, but still do Zins, just nicotine pouch, a little, pouches or whatever.
So when was the last time you tried to quit that?
So I stopped for a really long time. I stopped in December. I got COVID. Okay. And I quit, and I just got sick, so I didn't want anything.
Yeah.
It's I'm gonna use this as an opportunity, and I didn't have any nicotine for till probably December, February, probably till March.
No kidding.
And then I did it again, and I was
what made you go back? Just
I don't know. I just I think that I was not doing it, and then one of my friends had Zins or something. I'm
sure.
Give me one of those. I'll take that. And then I'm it's kind of awesome.
That's what I've been missing.
Yeah, that's what I've been missing. No, it's something that, it'd be great to not, I don't want to be dependent on really anything, but.
Yeah, is that why that's something that you want to stop, is just for the sake of just being able to say there is no other substance that I'm dependent on? It's just that discipline, or?
I guess that's a really good question, because it's if you don't have a reason to stop something. The reason I would want to stop is just to be healthy, for I don't want to die when I'm
right.
60.
Yeah.
So, but I'm proud of myself because I don't like smoke, which is good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Both my parents smoked. I'm just gonna like,
yeah.
You do look really cool when you smoke. You should leave that in the podcast. But I would love to. I was going to the gym a lot, and then haven't been for a while. So that's something that I want to actually like really go after again.
Yeah.
Especially like having like engagement photos coming up and stuff like that.
Do some shirtless ones.
Yeah, like do some really like sexy shirtless ones. Like, Haley, get out of the picture. I'm gonna show my abs. Yeah.
Just recreate the proposal scene, but you're shirtless. You got these biceps holding up.
Yeah, like I spent $700 for one photo. That's the one.
That's the one.
That's going
That's going to save the date.
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
Funny. I think I've actually I smoked once, and it was a tobacco pipe.
Yeah.
So not cigarettes. I've never tried cigarettes, but it was just this old school pipe, and I was with some guy where it felt cool. Like
yeah.
I feel very fancy. It was like squishing the tobacco and sitting there, and it was like it was a good experience. Like, yep, this is cool. It probably doesn't look cool. Like I probably look like a grandpa with the old tobacco, like an old fisherman. It sure felt cool.
So my great grandpa, his name was Lonnie, right? As
oh,
well.
Really?
And my grandma, she kept all of his his daughter, my grandma. Kept like all of his pipes that he had, and I would like sneak and grab them and pretend I was smoking them when I was like like a kid,
just thinking about something.
Yeah, it all started there.
Oh man,
you would look nice with a pipe,
right?
And like a little like boiler hat or something.
I really need to grow the beard out more.
Yeah,
like a yellow raincoat and start selling fish sticks.
Yeah.
Oh man, I haven't gone to the gym in forever.
Looks like you got a little home gym right here.
Yeah, I got some weights there, and we got the rower machine that like for recovery after surgery. I thought that would be good.
Yeah.
But Friday, it's tomorrow. Jeez, I'm supposed to go to my first jiu-jitsu class.
Where at?
It's one of the sergeants at work. He's a certified Gracie jiu-jitsu instructor, and he just teaches it every Friday out of his garage. He's got mats, and he does a kids class and adults. So Emma and Addison are coming with me. Emma agreed to try it, and I'm dragging Addison with me. So
that's awesome.
Emma's gonna do. Well, I guess we'll all be doing our first jiu-jitsu lesson.
Do you have your gi yet?
Super nervous. No, I've.
Is it no gi? Do you know?
I think so. He said just no zippers, so you don't mess up the mat or anything.
Cool.
I told him I know nothing about jiu-jitsu other than I really want to try it, but I've been afraid to because my ankle. I don't want to get re-injured going to some intense gym. So I don't know if that's going to be a habit, but I'm excited to at least check the box and say that I've tried it. So.
Yeah, I did it for about a year.
Oh, did you?
I did. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did it. It was hard work. It's fun. I kept getting beat up all the time and having to go to work with black eyes and stuff. And I was like, no, I don't think this is my sport.
Pickleball's really popular right now.
Yeah, that one works out a little bit better.
That's funny. What is something that you've gone through that you feel like kind of hindered your development as just an individual and a man and understanding what it means to be a man, and how did you overcome that?
Oh man, it's
we're gonna change lanes here.
I haven't. Yeah. Well, so my whole teenage years were just growing up in general was really challenging, and I think my developmentally I'm very blessed to be where I'm at right now. I think because my dad was not only a pastor, he was a drug addict and became a drug dealer, and all these super contradictory paths and lives that he lived, and I wasn't allowed to tell anybody, and also very abusive. I didn't know what healthy family was at all. So, or what it looked like to have a dad around. So I think just that in general, it's the model I had for a man was someone who was an abusive drug addict and womanizer, and and a heretic.
Right,
so
yeah.
it's like crazy. That's been the thing that like I feel like I constantly have to like get over and just be like, oh, I'm doing a good job. I'm doing enough.
Right. How does that affect like with your dad being a pastor? Is it hard going into a church environment and not constantly being like, yeah, okay, but I bet you've got this going on, or not even necessarily judgmental, but is it hard to trust leadership? Like,
yeah, I like this last year, I just started allowing myself to trust people, especially in like church, and it's still like an exercise for me to do this, trusting others. Like it's really easy for me to like look at somebody like, I bet you have this going on,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like assume something. But I've really been like working on just like letting that go, and it's not my place to judge those people.
Right.
But yeah, to answer your question, that is very challenging, and it's something that I've been really working on. I think that just being around, like involving myself to be actually around men, like in church, and that like that actually care about you, kind of like get to like open the door a little bit and be like, oh, there's actually really good people that don't want to like ruin your life out there.
Yeah.
So, and it's really beautiful to like know that they're honest and good people that are in church too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there was like a breakthrough moment, or just kind of like years of nose to the like emotional grindstone to just kind of slowly break down those preconceptions and build up new ones?
Well, I did emerge, and I think so. I went to a Christian school here, and I just didn't feel like I was really looking for a community. And I think I was looking for a dad, which wasn't what the school was, prepared to give me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just felt like I kept getting let down. And that's not something I can expect from them, of course. But, and then I just kind of like, for a while, I was just like living a pretty secular life and partying, hanging out. And then my best friend did Emerge, which is, something at my church where, groups get together, usually groups of men or women, and then they're around family. And doing that, like I just got to be around my pastor and like people that actually care about you with no like agenda, and you just get to like kind of be loved by Christ through people. And that was kind of my moment where like, oh, I get this and I can do this for others and receive it, which is awesome.
And you're doing Emerge again, right?
Yeah, Haley and I are doing it together.
So is that so you can experience it as a joint effort, or do you feel like there's more to get out of it, like something that you missed out on because of what you were looking for the first time?
I think that this last year was so amazing because of like what I got out of it, and it's going to be cool to experience it like engaged, to the person that I love, and kind of walk that out together. Like we're both on separate healing journeys, but together, and getting to walk that out with people. Yeah.
How much was she involved in it? Like, because you guys were still, you were dating while you were going through it the first time.
Yeah. Was
she part of the process with you, or just kind of a witness to it, like seeing you grow?
Definitely both. Like we would have so in Emerge, there's you have like a men's group that you go to, which is like 5 guys hanging out, and then you have a thing called Tribe, and it's like men and women, or like young men and women, and they like hang out, and you have like your tribe parents, so they're like your parents for the year, and they like make you food and like talk to you, pray with you, like you'll like play games and stuff like that. And I was very lucky for the group I was in. The one of the leaders is a therapist as well.
Nice.
So I was very lucky. But they let Haley come several times. We'd have family nights, and Haley would get to come and like interact with them, and it's cool because like every time they see Haley, like and I'm with her, they run up and hug Haley first, which makes me feel really happy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, so I know we've kind of covered this, but in a different approach, what's another, or it could even be the same thing that you like, something that you went through that really sucks while you're going through it, but getting out on the other side, you can look back and like, you know, I'm going to see that as a blessing not necessarily instead of a struggle, but something that you're grateful for that was suffering.
You know, so one thing that I've been thinking about recently is, so I was a touring musician from like 15 till 19, 20 when I moved out here.
Okay.
So, and I had like my band, and those guys were like my dudes. They were like my brothers. They all ended up moving out to California with me, and we're like, oh, we're gonna make it. We're gonna do this thing, and it was going really well. Like it was going well, and we were, you know, like seeing the results we wanted. Then COVID happened, and we couldn't play shows anymore.
Right.
You know, it just like it didn't make sense, and they all moved here from Kentucky and Indiana, and they're like, hey Lonnie, we're gonna move back, and like something in me was like, I can't do that, I'm gonna stay out here. So I stuck around, and I was just like, so I think I was hurt and bitter because like I lost the thing that I wanted the most.
Right.
You know, like as a young man, like that thing was the thing that like I got approval for from my parents. You know, my dad was like, loved music, so he's like, oh, that's great, you know, I'll support you in that. So I lost that thing that was my whole identity, you know, which was music and touring. And but I realized that I said yes to something by staying out here as much as like, and I've been like rewarded. Like I got the most beautiful fiance, future wife that I'm, you know, get to marry, and like I have community and people that love me, and I get to make music in my bedroom now, which is awesome. I don't have to be in a bus with like 5 stinky guys.
Right.
So I'm like, you know, I felt like I was really taken care of, like it, you know, in short, like the thing I thought I wanted most went away, and then I was picked up the thing that I really wanted.
That is perfect. That I love like how God takes like your vision for your own life, and like you can have a heart for God and you want to chase after that. So as long as you're just obedient, your vision for your own life like almost never turns out the way that you want or expect it to. But if you're willing to give that up, like what it turns into is so much better than what you had in mind for yourself. I like that.
Thanks, Cole.
So what are some criteria that you use on yourself when you're kind of gauging where you stand, like as a man, places that like what defines your success or failure as you kind of walk through life?
So when defining my success or failure, man, so, you know, I think about it, I'm like, now I ask myself the question, I'm like, hey God, are you proud of me? Are you proud of the decision that I made? There's a verse, it's like Romans 12:21, and I'm going to paraphrase it and butcher it. So it's like, never let evil defeat you, but defeat evil with good. It's like, did I handle this in a way that was good, and, you know, not only for me, but for the ones that live around me. I think like that's how I try and look at things and gauge the decisions I make. But that doesn't mean that I'm not in traffic and might throw out some some really harsh words at people, and then have to like you know, apologize in my heart later about it. But that's, you know, when I talk to people like at work, whatever, like I wanna do, just be like Jesus, you know.
Man, that's a great perspective. Judge your own success by like looking at the people that are in your life and see like, okay, well, not just like how do they feel about me, but how are you serving them, and recognizing how you're handling situations through the reflection that you have on other people is awesome. That is what Jesus would want. So that's really cool.
Thank you. You said that way better than I did.
It's sitting up here talking to myself all this time. I'm getting better at it.
You learned some things. Wow.
All right. So now that you are engaged to be married to my baby sister, which congratulations.
Thank you.
What are you most nervous about and most excited about when it comes to being a married man? As far as, you know, not just superficial benefits, but like how that changes your life as far as responsibilities and you know, opportunities for joy and growth and all this stuff. Like, what's been taking over most of your thought in that area?
The thing I think I'm most nervous about is she'll find out that I'm gay.
That's all right. We can edit that out.
We can edit that out.
I won't, but we could.
No, I you know, I think the thing I think that like the honest thing is like, what if I'm like my dad? What if, you know what I mean? Like that. I think that's I feel like, you know, in any decision a man makes is like, oh my God, am I gonna be like my dad? So that's obviously scary, and I know that like that's not who I'll be or what I'll be. But that's the thing that, you know, I think about. Oh crap, did I just handle that like a jerk? Did I do what my dad would have done? And, you know, that's the thing that scares me the most. The thing I look forward to, I just, you know, so when I was like a kid, like I since I was a little boy, I would like pray for whoever my wife would be.
Yeah.
And I just like met the person that like, I met someone, like people say like when you know, it's like, that's what it feels like. I've never felt like, oh wow, I get to like honor and like take care of and be taken care of and grow with someone. Like we had a conversation yesterday and I was like, Haley, like, I want to see your dreams come true. I want to see like your heart's desires be fulfilled. Like that's what I want to do as a husband. Is like make sure that you get to do the things that you've always wanted and have like been really important to you.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm excited about. Is like we'll get to do these really cool things together, or really lame things, you know. But just being together, you know. Maybe that's lame, but I think it's cool.
No, it's perfect. That's literally like one of the best things about it is, in fact, Nicole and I were just talking about this recently, and it's something that I have prepared for a future episode, is talking about not having to look out for yourself anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so fulfilling and freeing to, like, my passion is to see your dreams come true and to marry someone who says the same thing to you. Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes that takes couples time to develop, and there might be periods where that is lesser or greater, but the idea that you have someone who just like, I'm here to cheer you on and I got your back. You don't worry about yourself. Like you worry about doing the same for them, and it's the best.
Yeah. Well, when it's crazy because like right when I put that ring on her finger when I proposed, it's like I felt this thing. It's like just like this sense of security. Not that I was insecure about like our relationship, but I was like I just was this release of security and just being like, oh, this is it.
Right.
This
is
awesome.
what I was praying for all these years.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's good. We're almost done here. Just a couple more questions. I'm just deciding whether or not I'm going to use these last ones.
Sure. Whatever you want.
So we did talk about like you've done Emerge, so it's likely that this might pull from that. But what's a lesson that you've learned recently that kind of sticks out, and if not necessarily life changing, but kind of like open doors to new perspectives that you didn't have before?
Lesson, opens door perspective. It's a really good question. I'm trying to think of something that's like really just shifted my perspective in the last year. So I think I walked through life believing that people didn't love me. And the solution to that is like letting yourself be loved. Like if you can allow yourself to be loved by people and just be present with people that like might even like not seem like they're supposed to be your people, or like why would they ever care about me? But you're just present with them, and you like and you stop and think, wait, these people are being good to me and kind to me because they love me, not because they want anything from me.
Yeah.
If you just sit in that and be like, I'm wanted and I'm loved, then I think that's what changed my perspective on just life in general. I'm like, oh my God, people love me. Like I'm okay. I can mess up and I'll be all right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Takes a lot of fear out of your life and quiets that voice in your head, like you're saying, like you're not good enough or you're gonna do this. And
yeah.
It's like, well, even if I did do this thing that I'm afraid I'm gonna mess up on, these people, you're still gonna love me.
Yeah. And just getting to that place where you allow yourself to like actually let people love you.
Yeah.
And like kind of like shoot the pride in the head a little bit, where you like have to do everything on your own.
So was that from a merge, or just kind of like this season of your life that in general?
I think like a lot of it is learning from a merge, and then just like, you know, just growing up being like an anxious person and being like, why am I anxious? It's like, because you know, that's what I think I'm afraid of. It's like, and like, are people gonna love me if I, you know, mess up? Because that's not, I didn't grow up that way. And then getting to see that in adulthood, it's like, they don't care. Yeah. They just want to, like, people that love you, that genuinely love you, they want to pick you up when you fall down and take care of you. Like, that's what Christ does. He's like, you know, like if you're a bird with broken wings, he's going to put you in a box and take you home and, you know, feed you from a bottle or something. I don't know, whatever you do with a bird with a broken wing.
Probably kill it, though. Yeah, we won't do that to you.
If you're like a really, you know, bird loving kind of person. Yeah. Like Mike Tyson, you know. He has like several he has so many pigeons.
No.
He's like a pigeon collector.
Why? The man caught tigers. Why get the dumbest bird ever?
So I don't know. I can't give commentary on Mike Tyson because I don't know his story like really well. But like he grew up in like he lived in wherever he lived and had a bunch of pigeons on his roof, and I think that was like his escape. He lived in this, so
it makes him feel like home.
So in this analogy, Mike Tyson is Jesus, and I'm the pigeon.
You're his pigeon.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. I've been working on that one.
Oh man. Well, this one actually, my wife Nicole helped me come up with.
Cool.
I asked her what's something that she would ask you if she was sitting in my seat, and so she wanted to ask which came first, knowing that you were ready for marriage and then these things just kind of fell into place because you recognized that, or you met Haley and started that relationship and then it hit you like, oh no, I'm ready and this is it.
So I think a desire in my life was to be like, you know, a husband. But when I met Haley, that wasn't like what I was looking for. I was in a spot like, I'm never talking to a woman ever again. That's kind of where I was. But like thinking about that with Haley was easy. Like thinking about like being married and like getting to like love her, that sounds like it sounded right and easy. Like it wasn't anything that was taxing to think about, or it wasn't like I didn't have a question where I was like, I don't know. Yeah. Like she's got too many tattoos. I don't know. It's just like I met her and I was like, she's just so like pure and done so much work to just be like the amazing person that she is. I'm like that. I'm inspired by her. You know, I don't know if this is answering your question.
Yeah,
but like we started hanging out and I was like, oh wow, she like inspires me. Like not only as like to do better, but like to to create and to follow my passions and dreams, like you were saying earlier, you know.
Yeah.
And there wasn't like I was like, I just kind of knew. I was like, I'm supposed to marry this woman. Maybe that's like too crazy, but I'm supposed to marry her. Like, she's the one. That's how it felt.
Yeah.
You know. Like I remember, like I can think of the exact moment when I thought that we were like dating for like
really?
2 months.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, we were on this car ride, and like I just looked over at her and I like had this like overwhelming feeling. I was like, all the serotonin was in my brain, and I was like, this is perfect, you know.
Did you say anything to her in that moment, or you just kind of like?
Yeah, so I went back to my house and I wrote her a letter like that.
Oh, really?
That day. I think that I like gave it to her the next day. Like she came to my work, or like I don't remember. Like I hid it somewhere and gave it to her. I told her I loved her, and we were only dating for like 2 months or something like that. And yeah, yeah. And then since then, I was like, that's it. That's all I want.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really good. Well, I hadn't really thought about how to end this, so if you want, I'll give you a freebie. You can either ask me a question, or if there's something that you would want to say to anybody who's going to end up listening to this, which maybe nobody,
hey,
but somebody.
I'll listen to it. I'm self-indulgent.
Man, I sounded good.
Yeah, I sounded good on that one. Hey, listen to this. We make your whole family sit in like in the living room, like, okay, guys, this is the good part.
That's true. I have 4 Patreon subscribers right now, so there's some listeners.
Let's go. Let's go. Dang. Okay. Let's see. I don't have anything that I want to peddle on your podcast.
All right.
I'm too tired of selling things. That's what I do all day long. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you 2 questions.
Okay.
So if you can have one of these 2 superpowers, which would you choose? So you could have one where anytime you were fully submerged in a body of water, you turn into a golf cart. Or the other one is you are a half empty, but never fully empty bottle of ranch. Which superpower are you going to choose?
So I would always be a bottle of ranch. I'd
Yes.
never be a person.
Right.
But on the other one, I am a person until I get in water.
And you turn in, and you'd have to like get like towed out.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, those, I don't know if those are superpowers or super inconvenience. I'll take the golf cart because I can just, I'll play around in the water up to my shoulders.
I should say it's really painful too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
That's all right. I've had kidney stones, surgeries, Crohn's disease. Bring the pain on. I'll try a golf cart just for fun one time.
Make a good golf cart.
They're great questions.
Okay, so my actual question is, you have 3 daughters. What's the most recent like moment where you're like you've learned from being married, having 3 daughters, that's shifted your perspective? It's changed you as a man.
It's weird because I think, I actually always wanted daughters. So I'm very blessed to get exactly what I asked for and more. And so there's been lots of like little moments where it's like constant, because you're constantly learning, because anything that they feel or think or love, like I may be able to relate to it, but it's always in a different way because I was never a 14-year-old girl, like, but I think the thing that shifted my perspective a little bit more, and I always really tried to like be the best dad that I could, just because I love them so much. That's something Nicole said recently was, I was getting frustrated with one of them, and I started to speak unkindly, I think, and I took sort of a condescending tone. And the conversation ended, and Nicole told me, like, hey, like, you need to remember, like, this, you are the model of the husband that they are going to have.
Wow.
And I think even at times in the past I had thought about that, and that had been a motivating factor, but in that moment it just like hit me, because that's like that's not just a general statement. Like every interaction I have with my girls like is in their memory and in their heart, and builds a picture of the man that they expect.
Wow.
And the man that they deserve. So it's like this, I have like goosebumps just thinking about it now, because it's this incredible weight, but a responsibility that I'd kind of always asked God for. One of my, this sounds unrelated, but like one of my biggest disappointments about leaving the Army early was that I never got to become a non-commissioned officer, like a sergeant or above, because I was so passionate about being able to lead other people and spend all of my time taking care of my guys. Like, I want to make sure everybody's okay. Mm-hmm. So translating that into being a father, like, it's a heavy burden that I've been asking for. Mm-hmm. So having that opportunity to do that, but that moment right there is what shifted my perspective to remember, like, don't just like be a good dad in general. Like every time you speak to her, speak in a way that you would want her future husband to speak to her. Mm-hmm. And obviously it's a different relationship, but I want them to have absolutely no doubt of what they deserve and how they should be treated. So that definitely prompted me to go apologize. And that's a hard thing as a dad too, like being the authoritative figure, but and wanting and respect, but you still have to like be the one who's going to apologize to your kid when you mess up, because I darn sure expect her husband, if he messes up, which he will, he better go apologize.
Yeah.
And I want that to be expected. Mm-hmm. So Nicole is a fantastic mother and a fantastic wife, and has been there to kind of shift my focus, especially as our oldest, is entering high school, and so much is changing, and there's so much like growth, becoming more independent in some areas, but not in others, and that strong will and ability to think for herself and pushing back on me, which is natural, normal, and absolutely necessary. But to be able to approach that in a way that still honors her future is a lot. So it's definitely, but Nicole saying that to me like really opened my eyes and reminded me like what God has put on my life.
That's crazy. I don't think about that. Like that's crazy. Like you're the mom, like your daughters are going to expect their future husband to treat them the way that you treated them.
Right. So if I constantly belittle them and make them feel dumb or minimize their emotions, then that's something they're going to accept from their husband that I wouldn't accept from them.
What does that say about us then? That we're marrying the sisters.
I don't even know, man.
Well, no, that's wild. I haven't really thought about that much.
Yeah.
That's great perspective.
Yeah. I think, like I said, I've always wanted girls, but I think I always would have been a good dad. But man, Nicole makes me a great dad.
She's amazing. You have you have a beautiful family, 3 awesome daughters, an awesome wife.
Yeah.
Very. I love watching you guys, and like just the way you interact with each other. So like, it just seems like it's like, oh, that's the way it's supposed to be, So good job.
That makes me happy. Yeah, thanks.
Of course.
All right. Well.
What?
All right, so that was our very first interview for the Everyman's Odyssey podcast. And again, I just want to say thank you to Lonnie for coming out. I had a great time, and I think it was a valuable discussion. Now, we did experience some technical difficulties with the audio, but fortunately, I was able to extract the audio from the video that will be up on Patreon, and that's how you're listening to this now. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And as always, don't forget to engage with us on social media and on the Patreon platform if you haven't already. Take care, guys.